friends, happy Friday, and more importantly, happy St. Patrick's Day. How is everyone doing tonight? I hope your weekend is off to a great start. I am celebrating the day here. After a long week and a long Friday, it's good to sit back and have a dark beer. And of course, as is tradition, I've got the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli with some Haunted Bookshop. Although I do have several Irish and/or Irish-themed tobaccos for later on as the day goes on, as the evening goes on. I hope this doesn't last the whole day. I did try. I spent an inordinate amount of time today trying to find a connection between Haunted Bookshop and Ireland. I failed, but I don't care. It's still a perfectly fine way to get things started. So, who do we have assembled this evening? I see Mushroom Leg. How you doing, my friend? Mr. Stan, good to see you. Big Dave, Steve Russell, Kirk from Florida. How you doing, Kirk? I hope your health is improving there, my friend. It's good to see you. I think I got Big Dave, Todd Munson. There's Artie from Artie's Place. How you doing tonight, Artie? Texas Piper, Pensive Piper. Steve Russell says, if I dance, then I'll have to sing, then all the dogs start howling. I understand, Steve. I got the same problem. Flint Hills Briar, good to see you. Didn't have corn cod. Nope, actually had salmon tonight. But yeah, I'm about a half Guinness in myself there, Flint Hills, so good to see you. George Teeterman, good to see you. Bona Piper, hello, Christian. Jers Piper, happy St. Patty's Day to you. And there's Michael Case. Happy St. Patrick's Day. 63, cloudy and bright. Peterson Pipe with generic Balkan. Can't beat that, Michael. John Adams, how you doing, John? Taciturn Richard. Faith and Begora indeed. And there's Steph and Skip Kane. Hello, Steph. How are you doing tonight? Good to see you. So, I actually put some thought, well, I put minimal thought into this, but, you know, what are you going to do? It's a YouTube live stream. But I do have some Irish tobaccos and some Irish pipes. I did remember to wear a green shirt, so my grandmother would be proud. And I don't have an Irish Zippo, but I also don't have an Irish Tamper, but I got out Gumby again because he's green, so it's the best I can do. Let's see. Couch. How you? Oh, Couch has a bad cold. I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. Hope you're feeling better soon. How's my girl Ilva doing? Texas Piper says, just lit a bowl of Burley Flake #1 and his favorite Peterson, and he's got some Jameson Black to pair. Sounds good. Black Barrel. Very nice. And Steph's got some Eileen's Dream going. Oh boy, plenty of the Irish tonight. I am enjoying a bottle of Guinness. I wanted to get the cans that, you know, got the nitrogen thing in them, but they were all out of them. So we'll have bottles. It'll be fine. Dry Fly Fisher 11, how you doing? No, Big Dave, I don't have one with a Celtic cross. I have one with the St. Benedict medal, but I don't think that counts. Although I wouldn't mind having a Zippo with a Celtic cross, so I'll have to look into that. I need another Zippo. Jeffrey Feinberg has got some basic Burley and a Bulldog by Stanwell. Fantastic. Piper on the Mountain. New to the live stream. Thought I'll check you out. Well, welcome. It's good to have you tonight. I hope you feel welcome and have a good time. Steph had one whiskey and is done. I can't do much more than one myself these days. I'm a shadow of my former self. Couch says Ilva seems to be doing better, but her consultation isn't until July 5th. I saw the picture of her being teased by the squirrel, Couch. Yep, I saw it. Those squirrels are bastards, I tell you. Boris the Piper, good evening. Good to see you, buddy. So I'm not sure, but we might be a little light tonight because I think we're overlapping with the Mealtown show. I think. Did that start today? Or if it didn't start today, there might be people traveling. Hype Ninja. Happy St. Patty's Day to you too, sir. Good to see you, Cliff. And I assume your big date night was a success, buddy? Couch has been smoking shandy gaff all week and digging it. That's good stuff. Good stuff. I like it in warmer weather, but it's good all the time. There's Puny Pipe Man. How you doing tonight? Flint Hill Briar is having a Guinness Extra Stout. Used to hate the stuff, but now prefer it to the draft version. Really? You like the nitrogen doohickey too? Yeah, I do too. The Extra Stout, it's funny. To me, it just didn't taste right to me. It tasted too mild. Guinness has that, people are going to get mad at me for saying this, but rusty taste to it. And I didn't feel like I could get that and I like it. And I didn't get that in the Extra Stout. Doug Owen, how you doing tonight, Doug? Good to see you. Glad to hear it was a good one, Cliff. I knew it would be. Dry fly fisher, you have a much higher opinion of me than you should. If you think I'm going to be on a big screen at Mealtown. Oh, Steph, I think Boondock Saints is a wonderful movie. Good uplifting film. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. A little dark, but Texas Piper had dinner at an Irish pub on Wednesday and drank their Black Moon, half Guinness and half Blue Moon. Huh. Surprisingly good, eh? Well, wouldn't be opposed to trying it, Eddie. Oh yeah, Couch. Ben did like the shandy gaff, if I recall. Of course, it had burley in it. Ben pretty much liked anything with burley in it. So had an interesting day today. On a personal note, other than work being a joy as it always is, but it's getting better. Got a message from my wife this morning that her 92-year-old aunt fell and broke her hip. So she's in the hospital, actually having surgery right now, or earlier, which I assume went well, to have pins put in her hip, and that's obviously going to have her laid up for a bit. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, Steph, it probably would be canceled these days. But it's it's got its pluses and minuses, but I think it's a good movie. But then again, I thought Fight Club was a good movie. So. The Smooth Piper, happy St. Patrick's Day to you there, Peter. Aaron go bra indeed. Doug Owen recommends the movie of the day is The Quiet Man with Maureen O'Hara and John Wayne. Quintessentially Irish. That is a good one. Yeah. Or one of the ones that was recommended to me by YouTube was the Molly McGuire's, Sean Connery. I don't know why YouTube thought I'd want to watch that today, but Flint Hill Briars once had an Irishman tell me that Guinness Extra Stout was only good for cooking. That's interesting. P.A. Piper, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you. So the other thing that happened today, which was also unfortunate, my wife is in Pittsburgh with her parents, and her original plan was to come back today, but there was something going on, and she figured better to come back tomorrow. So she was going to be driving back tomorrow. Today she went into a bank with my sister-in-law, and as they were leaving, she somehow caught her two fingers, I don't actually know which hand it was, but two fingers on the door of the bank as it was closing, and it bent the two fingers back to the point where it split her skin right where the fingers meet the palm, and she apparently had to get 5 stitches. So I talked to her briefly while she was waiting to see the doctor, and she was okay, in pain obviously, but she didn't think any bones were broken. And then my sister-in-law called me just a short while ago to tell me that x-rays were clear and everything, but she did need 5 stitches. So she's probably not driving back tomorrow. In fact, I know she's not driving back tomorrow, but it might be another week or so before she can drive the turnpike. So I might have to be a bachelor for a bit longer. Anyway, appreciate your thoughts and prayers and whatnot for her aunt and for her as well. Mushroom Leg says the first Highlander flick is a decent dose of Irish cheese. Not a bad suggestion there. Quiet Man Irish whiskey is supposed to be very good, says Michael Case. Never tried it, Michael, but keep an eye out for it. I think I understand, P.A. Piper. That was a little... there we go. Okay, great. I got you now. I think the Molly Maguires does take place in PA, Doug. I think it does. Ron Hardcrackers, how you doing, Ron? PA Piper is 23 miles east of Pittsburgh. Not too far outside of my old stomping grounds there, PA Piper. Thank you, Pipe Ninja. Much appreciated. Yeah, not a good day indeed, Flint Hill Briar. I can't imagine what that must have felt like. I mean, it's great that I'm glad she didn't break bones, but my goodness, that had to hurt. And they looked at the door to see what she could have possibly cut herself on, and there was nothing. So it must have just been from the pressure of her fingers being bent back like that. Beowulf and Miss Kathy, how you doing tonight? Steve Russell, it sometimes feels like there's a curse, dark cloud hanging over my head, but you know what? There's a lot of blessings too. We only talk about the bad stuff. Double clutched. There you go, PA Piper. Jeffrey Feinberg asking if anyone is smoking Irish Flake. That would be Peterson Irish Flake. Not yet, but it's on the docket, maybe. Thank you, Peter. Much appreciated, my friend. Thanks, Dry Fly Fisher. Mushroom Leg, you are also... Oh, Mushroom Leg is smoking Irish Flake. Gotcha. Grab the canoe. Tamper Jim, how you doing tonight, Jim? Applying pipe mortar, did an amazing job to correct a pipe with drilling that was off. Oh, fantastic. Glad to hear it, Tamper Jim. Good stuff. I can guess how you know that's painful, Michael, and how it can take long to get back. Yeah. I'm sure that if she tore the skin like that, there's probably some ligaments and tendons that are messed up as well. It's going to take her a while. Well, thank you, Couch. I appreciate that you love the Irish flake, and we definitely, well, I might as well tell you. So our choices tonight, I haven't opened either of these tins. So this is a tin of Irish flake from 2017. And I also have not an Irish tobacco, but Irish inspired Warhorse Ready Cut from 2016. And I'll be opening one or both of those tonight. Thank you, Jeffrey Feinberg. Doug's asking if anyone's drinking Red Beast 15-year-old. Great stuff for St. Patty's. Sounds good, Doug. I gotta start writing down these suggestions. Yeah, I don't want to think about it, PA Piper, to be honest. I mean, I felt bad, but she's on the phone describing it to me, and I'm just thinking, oh no, just keep that to yourself, because it just hurts. I can't imagine what it felt like. Oh, airbag in the car, Michael. That's a bad, yeah. Hopefully it did more good in terms of protecting you than harm in terms of hyperextending your fingers. The Molly Maguire's was filmed in Eckley. I didn't know that, Big Dave. That is interesting. Yes, Steve and Kathy, I have tried the Zippo trick. I was going to mention that on Sunday, actually, but I tried it on this lighter. And I've been through, so normally a fill on this will last me about a day. And keep in mind, I probably use this more than most people do. And I've been keeping track of it since I put the little piece of plastic bag. And if you haven't seen the video that Beowulf and Miss Kathy put out on the Zippo trick, it's worth taking a look at. So I went from needing to fill it every day to needing to fill it about every day and a half to 2 days. So it hasn't been a huge change for me, but you know, over time that's going to add up. So very, very good trick. Thank you for the suggestion. Scott Terry, the fact that it's a Dublin shape counts just fine. And he's smoking LJ Peretti London Flake. Well, now that's a problem. I'm okay with you smoking a 7 LA Dublin on St. Patrick's Day, but London, nothing. Steve Russell's having a mug of coffee. That's good stuff, Steve. Always goes good with a pipe. Todd Bunsen is asking if any thoughts on the new Peterson shapes. I haven't seen them, Todd. I'm not really a Peterson fan. So I wouldn't be a good person to ask anyway. Maybe someone else out there has some thoughts on new Peterson shapes. I do have a Peterson that was given to me by my buddy Jim Finn, and I was planning to bring that down with me tonight, and I forgot. It's actually sitting upstairs. But I've got a couple of Irish seconds. Now, Irish seconds are the Peterson second line, so technically I got Peterson pipes. But these were bought back in the late 80s, early 90s, so they're back when Peterson, in my opinion, still had, I mean, they're seconds. You can't find out why they're seconds. Although I got some thoughts, but it's hard to tell. Big Dave asking if anyone had corned beef, cabbage, and boiled potatoes for dinner tonight, or anything particularly Irish. I had salmon, rice, and carrots, so I failed on that one. Oh, Scott Terry, don't take it personally. By all means, don't go order Irish flake because I complained about the London flake. Flint Hill Briar, I think I actually agree with you like 90% of the time. Coffee goes better with a pipe or cigar than does whiskey. Although I do like to pair with whiskey. Uh, but yeah, most of the time I'm drinking coffee or just water. Steve Russell's got black double X in a Joby Stromboli. Call it an Irish Dream. There you go. Couch, the old Irish seconds, and maybe Doug Owen will correct me on this, but my understanding is the old Irish seconds were made at the Peterson factory in Ireland. The new ones, I don't know where Peterson pipes are being made these days. I don't think they're in Ireland, but I could be wrong about that. Ron Hardcracker is drinking a bottle of McGuire's Irish style red ale from Aldi. Good stuff. Aldi sells beer? I don't think the Aldi's here sell beer. Yeah, Texas Piper, you can get Irish seconds still, but they're Peterson's current thoughts on what constitutes a second. And I don't know, given what Petersons are like these days, I don't know if I want their seconds. Irish soda bread and honey. That sounds good, Michael. Taciturn Richard's going to be having corned beef and cabbage in about an hour. All right. Kevin Doolin, are you saying that you will share some historical facts about the holiday, or are you asking me to do it? If you're asking me to do it, I'm going to have to Google. Smooth Piper did make corned beef and cabbage and Irish soda bread and had an Irish coffee with Tullamore Dew. Wow. Peter, I should have known. If you don't know, the Smooth Piper is very Irish and very, very proud of his Irish heritage. He and my grandmother would have got along just fine. Orca Troy's corned beef and cabbage is done down, meaning you ate it already? Good deal. Sailor, good evening. Smoking a GBD International made in England. Shape 2 from the 70s along with old Joe Krantz. Sorry, Sailor. It sounds wonderful. I'm just, I'm down on the English tonight because it's St. Patty's Day. All right, Kevin, fantastic. We'll have Kevin Doolin's facts about the St. Patrick's Day holiday. Yeah, just interject them whenever you feel, and we'll go through them. Yeah, just do them one at a time if you don't mind. Did Peterson have shamrocks as seconds? I don't know, Steve. I'm not aware of it. Ron Hardcracker says Pam made a corned beef brisket with cabbage, carrots, and potatoes and soda bread for the store tonight. So that sounds so good. Doug Owen, back in the day, you would never find a putty fill or a pit on a first quality Peterson or any other top brand, but these days it's very common to see fills in $200 pipes. Yeah. Yes, Jeffrey, I agree. Mushroom Leg, chef at a restaurant, we cooked over 200 pounds of corned beef. Glad to be home. Yeah, and I guess the last thing you want to see right now is some corned beef. They were out of cabbage at the store, Flint Hill Briar. Wow. Armchair Piper, how you doing, Ed? Smoking Old Dublin in a no-name Dublin. Well, that's pretty Irish of you, Ed. Peter's from the northern side, yep. Okay, here we got fact number one from Kevin Doolan. Until the 1970s, St. Patrick's Day in Ireland was a minor religious holiday for Catholics. Indeed. As is pretty much every saint day in Catholicism is a minor religious holiday. Flint Hill Briar, I'm going for a dram or two of Tullamore Dew later. Sounds good. Patrick Grant, good evening. Good to see you tonight. Oh, that's interesting, Ron. So Aldi sells private label beer and wine in Arizona, and they also sell spirits in Germany. Yeah, I know they're a German company. I've been going to we have a store that opened here recently called Lidl, Lidel, which is also I believe a German company similar to Aldi, but really good quality stuff. I've been shopping there quite a bit. That's where I do my bachelor shopping. Katja, speaking of Irish, just ordered my potato seeds for the garden. Ordered purple ones too. Fantastic. Tell Ilva to stay out of the potato patch. Huh. Doug Owen says he was in Dublin in '85 and never saw a Dublin-shaped pipe. Yeah, I don't know where most pipe shapes got their name. It's interesting. I mean, I've heard stories about the billiard that have to do with playing billiards. Nobody seems to know where the bulldog came from. I think the prince might be the only one that really makes sense. All right, here's fact number two from Kevin Doolan. The first St. Patrick's Day parades were held in the U.S. Interesting, but not terribly surprising. We have the ability to turn anything into an event. Especially if we can find a way to make money off of it. Lurker Troy says the room is full. Yeah, we got 63 folks. Fantastic. Yeah, I know. Ilva does what she wants. She is insane. All dogs are insane, but Ilva's a special case. Lord Hogarth, evening and faith and begorra to you too. Oh, that's funny, Flint Hill. So if you translate the English "let's go get some cheap beer" into German using a German slang dictionary, it's "let's go get some Aldi beer." Big Dave says, Bing Crosby being Irish, what tobaccos did he smoke? I don't actually know what Bing Crosby smoked. I don't think he smoked Crooner because it didn't exist while he was walking the earth. Oh, Michael Case is bringing up Pi Day. I did not have a happy Pi Day, Michael. I had an annoying Pi Day. I'll tell you why. And thank you for asking. For those of you that don't know, March 14th is referred to as Pi Day because pi is 3.14. So, and I thought to myself, you know what I haven't had in a long time? Pie. And I don't like sweets for the most part. I don't like cake or pie for that matter, but there's a couple of pies I like on occasion. I like blueberry pie. I like rhubarb pie. I don't like strawberry rhubarb pie, but just straight rhubarb pie. So I went over to the supermarket thinking, well, I'm gonna get. They sell these little like individual serving pies. And I thought, well, I'm going to get one of those and have it for dessert tonight. Celebrate Pie Day, because I'm a geek. And there's no pies. There were like 3 full-size apple pies and nothing else. And this place used to have like 20 different types of pie. And the big ones and the small ones, and there were like slices of pie you could buy. So there was somebody there at the bakery counter, and I just said, "Hey, you don't have any pie?" And they said, "Oh no, we with all the shortages." I walked around the store. I had to pick up some other things, and there's flour, there's eggs, there's milk, there's apples. What are the shortages? What's short? And their response was, "Well, we all have to do our part." I don't. Now you're going to try to make me feel bad because I want a pie? I don't know what's going on with the world anymore. People are just stupid. All right, Kevin Doolin with St. Patty's Day fact number 3 to get me down from my my rant that I was about to launch into. St. Patrick's color was blue and not green. That's interesting. Of course, St. Patrick wasn't Irish, so kind of makes sense. I didn't know that. That's interesting. Doug Owen read that Crosby smoked Edgeworth Ready Rubbed in an Old Burley Virginia blend. Pie Day is also Einstein's birthday? Huh. Didn't know that. I don't like cake, P.A. Piper. Don't like sweet stuff. It's true, Ron. They did invent Pie Day just to sell more meth. I think math geeks invented it just to feel like they had something to celebrate. Mushroom Leg is a fan of pie. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get that that gene. I'm just not a guy for sweets. Pi r squared, yeah. Okay, here's my bad pie joke. What do you get when you divide a pumpkin by its circumference? I'm not going to tell you the answer. This is an Irish second. Now, I honestly cannot tell you why this one is an Irish second. This is old. I bought this pipe at a tinderbox in the 80s. So this is an old pipe. Now I've had it for years. This was unfinished. So this is like the Savinelli Series 3. That's how the Irish seconds came. So this was raw briar when I got it. And you can see how beautifully there's no stain on that. That is just the color of briar as it oxidizes over time. Smokes perfectly, nothing wrong internally that I can determine. The only problem with it is that the stem is apparently a cheaper vulcanite. You can see all the grunge on that. I should have cleaned it up before this, but anyway, it oxidizes very easily. But I'm guessing they put cheaper stems on their Irish seconds. But the stumble itself, I cannot find a problem with it. No fills, nothing. That's the way they used to be. Steve Russell wants to know where the green came from. I'm assuming in terms of St. Patrick. Well, probably the association with Ireland and it being the Emerald Isle and whatnot. They always have Patti LaBelle sweet potato pie at Walmart, except during the Thanksgiving rush. I did not even know that was a thing, Big Country Briar. And Walmart is not a place I would think of going to for pie, but I don't go to Walmart very much. Pineapple upside down cake is the only cake P.A. Piper likes. In Ireland, there's an old group called the Pioneers. They take a pledge to never drink alcohol and to atone for the curse of alcoholism in Ireland. That's interesting, Michael. Yes, I've heard Doug Owens saying Northwest Pipe Smoker Tom is a fantastic pie baker, and I've heard tales of his pie baking. And actually, when I had him on as a guest, we asked him about pie baking at your shut up, Google. We asked him about pie baking at your request, Doug, and it was fascinating. He's He's quite the pie baker. It's a second because it doesn't have Phil, says Ron. Kevin Doolan with fact number 4. St. Patrick's Day was a dry holiday in Ireland until about the 70s. Oh, there you go. That is fascinating. Doug says the green comes from your skin color after too much whiskey. So should I do the Warhorse or the Irish Flake? Could be, Sailor. I wouldn't put it past the Brits to do that. Got to vote for the Irish Flake. I have eaten Pipe Ninja. Salmon, rice, and carrots. Irish Flake from... Okay, got lots of Irish Flake. I'm probably going to do the Warhorse too. I like the Warhorse, so you don't have to convince me too hard to open that one. But let's start with the Irish Flake. This is again Irish Flake from 2017. And I know I've had Irish Flake, but I cannot remember it. Let's see what we got here. Come on, open you go. Oh, pretty flakes. Smells good. I'm going to do my usual, just kind of crunch it up into a ball and stuff it in approach. Pipe Ninja, who you telling to hang onto their butt? Kevin Doolan says he remembers it packing a punch. Maybe that's what Pipe Ninja says. A little. Is Old Dark Fired strong? I've had it. I don't like Old Dark Fired that much. But I've smoked a couple tins of it. I don't remember it being strong. But I've got that that Everett Young problem. I think Everett's he's with his dad tonight. Doug says Irish Flake is a super strong Virginia Burley. It shouldn't bother Mike in the least. I hope not. I got to do this for at least another 50 minutes. So. Patrick Grant says he loves Old Dark Fired. Yeah, a lot of folks do. To me, it's I just don't like that much Dark Fired in a blend. I mean, I like a little bit, but um, it's not. I don't think it's anything repulsive about it. Just not my kind of blend. I don't think there's any Dark Fired in this tobacco. I could be wrong about that, but I didn't look it up. Uh, Number 5 from Kevin Doolan. St. Patrick may not have even been Irish. Most evidence suggests Italian ancestry. That is indeed correct. Probably Roman. I believe he came to Ireland from England, but he was probably Roman living in England, because a lot of Romans were doing that in those days. Smooth Piper says my green beer is going to have to get some Valentine's Scotch with Canada Dry Ginger Ale. There you go. Dave is anxiously trying to get his hands on some Haunted Bookshop. Doug, I don't know if I should take that as a compliment or worry, but Everett's up there in terms of nicotine immunity. He puts me to shame. Couch says he thinks there's Kentucky in the Irish flake. I'm going to look it up. Uh-oh. It's a good thing I looked at this. I got all kinds of messages. Excuse me, because I just need to make sure my wife's okay. Oh, no, they're from my brother. I can ignore those for now. And, oh, I got to tell you about my further adventures with AI-generated text. You'll like that. Let's see. Peterson. Irish Lake. Tobacco Reviews is the first to pop up. Come on. There we go. A full-body blend made of equal proportions of air-cured, flue-cured, and dark-fired. True to the pure, unspoiled tobacco taste. Well, that doesn't tell me what's in it. Burley, Kentucky, Virginia. Okay, so it does have some dark-fired Kentucky in it. Well, now I'm not going to like it. No, so far I really haven't detected that. Kevin Dillon says he thinks Match is smoked with a nicotine patch on his arm and ground up Nicorette in the tobacco. Yeah, I wonder how many bowls of Haunted Bookshop he'd go through in a day. And the thing about him is he smoked so quickly too. You know, he was just like a freight train the whole time. Yeah, Dave, I've got quite a few friends up there in Canada who tell me the same thing about the ridiculous cost of tobacco. And then you try to order it in from the US, and if you get caught, you have to pay the taxes on it, and they're ridiculous, or the duties. Yeah, Doug, you know, I'll be honest, I've never had an immediate effect of nicotine. I've also never had a nicotine craving. So I'm lucky in that way. But I do think if I smoke too late at night, I have more trouble going to sleep. Um, it depends on how much I smoke that day. But like on a Saturday, if I've really had a lot, I've been working down here and I've been through multiple bowls, and if I have a bowl before I go to bed, I have more trouble sleeping. So it is catching up to me. Yeah, Patrick, the cigars would probably help with that because you're getting a much higher nicotine hit from the cigar than from pipe tobacco for sure. Kevin Doolin says Matches claimed to smoke 10 to 12 bowls a day, but many of those were in full bowls because he was on a break at work. Gotcha. At my worst or best, depending on how you want to look at it, I probably was up around 8. John did use his pipe to punctuate what he was saying, Phil. And good to see you, Phil. Phil Rivera. Ron is having some match BS 759 in a Peterson Capit Bulldog from the 70s. Very nice. Oh, Dave, we'd welcome you here in free America, but I don't know how much longer it's going to be free. P.A. Piper says Haunted Bookshop is like smoking a campfire, but that's just me. I'm not a Lotta Kia fan. No no Lotta Kia in Haunted Bookshop, P.A. Piper. I can't stand Lotta Kia. I did a search one day. I see Doug's talking about the cost of tobacco in British Columbia versus Washington State and Alaska. And I one day I thought to myself, okay, things are getting bad here. There was another tax that went through. And I said, okay, where in the world is this not a problem? And so I looked, and there's not a lot of information on tax on pipe tobacco, so I couldn't really find that. But I did find a table of taxes on cigarettes, and I figured, well, there's a relationship there at least. And it was really interesting. I mean, there's not many places in the world where it's as undertaxed. Well, I shouldn't say undertaxed. The taxes are as low as they are here in the U.S. Most places are much, much higher. Places like Canada, England, Australia, all being pretty bad. The lowest one was interesting. It turned out to be hang on, it'll come to me. It was in India. Pakistan. There we go. And I ended that search by saying, I don't want to live in Pakistan, and here I am. Ah, you don't like burley, P.A. Piper. Okay. Texas Piper says Tramper Scott had a video today about haunted bookshop inconsistency. Lots of Virginia flake left. Yeah, I mean that seems to come and go over the years. Sometimes you get a lot of the flake, sometimes not so much. I think it's just how much they get around to rubbing it out, how busy they are that day. I mean, they are a relatively small factory with folks hand blending things. Amazon has made a corporate decision not to ship pipes to Washington State, says Doug Owen. I didn't know Amazon shipped pipes, Doug. You can buy pipes on Amazon? I've never tried to do that. All right, Kevin Doolan's got another St. Patrick's Day fact for us. The shamrock is a popular Irish symbol, but not the symbol of Ireland. Indeed it is. Who gets more in terms of social services, Mr. Stan? I don't know if getting more in terms of social services is a good thing. Dave said he tried Eileen's Dream and really enjoyed it. I've never had Eileen's Dream. I've heard a lot of people say that it's really excellent, though. Amazon has pipes. I didn't know that, Kevin. I don't. Somebody else can answer what Eileen's Dream is flavored with, because I'm going to get it wrong. Jim PM, happy St. Patty's Day to you. Just got home from the fun at the Dayton Irish Club. Cool. Guinness and Ebola Symphony. Sounds good. Pipe Writer, how you doing? And the Mud Piper, hello. I've got some new folks flooding in now. Ed is asking, is the Boswell meetup still on? Ed, I heard there was a Boswell meetup. I actually heard this from Armchair Piper on April 1st, but I haven't heard anything else about it. I've been a bit out of touch just because work's been so crazy. I can't say I've been on YouTube much. So I don't know if who announced that and who's handling it. Yeah, Texas Piper, it's inevitable that I will eventually try it, huh? Huh, I never looked for pipes on Amazon, Doug. That's fascinating. Oh, high-tax countries have a lot of social services. Yeah, but the quality of those services is not so great. But we'll talk about that another time, Mr. Stan. We're having a fun St. Patrick's Day, right? Says the man that brought it up. My apologies. Sauer said he read somewhere a couple weeks back several of the more progressive states have petitioned the federal government for an updated proposal and position statement on tobacco regulation. Yay. Eileen's Dream has cigar leaf in it. That's interesting. Okay, Jers Piper says that Beans316 will be doing an update video tomorrow concerning the Boswell meetup. So we can look forward to that. So Beans is setting it up, says Armchair Piper. And I have to confer with the missus as to whether or not I can make it. And everything's up in the air now because she went and did a number on her hand. Plus the aunt in the hospital is a problem, and her mom is now getting carpal tunnel surgery done. Which is a good, I'm glad she's getting it done, but the whole reason she's in Pittsburgh is her mom broke her wrist and can't take care of her dad. So now if she gets that surgery done, there's going to be another period of time. And that's okay. You know, I'm not complaining about it. It makes scheduling things a lot more difficult for me. Kevin Doolin thinks it might be some time for H&H Burley Flake. That sounds good. This Irish Flake is not bad. I'm getting a little bit of that dark fired flavor, but it's not anything overwhelming. Patrick Grant says Eileen's dream is black Cavendish, cigar leaf, and Virginia. Thank you, Patrick. All right, Pipe Ninja. Enjoy that Irish spaghetti there, buddy. Have a good night. Thanks for joining us. That's the sort of thing that would drive my grandmother right up the wall. All right, PA Piper. Good to see you tonight. You have a good week. Yeah, I can see that would be a double-edged sword, Doug. Not that I want to see it happen, but I'd be curious how many, like what percentage of aromatic smokers would actually become non-aromatic smokers versus just giving up the smoking, pipe smoking. Well, Mr. Stan, I'm glad you're happy with what you got there. Isn't that funny, Flint Hill Briar, how something can bring up memories like that? Says that Dark Fired reminds him of a visit to a seminary in St. Louis during a spring break 20 years ago. Amazing. Oh, okay, so Jim PM's found English, then Virginia, and they didn't smoke arrows for decades, and then went back finding enjoyment in them. That's interesting. And Smooth Piper says he's at the point of not smoking arrows anymore. You know, Doug, I got no argument with Latakia, but if they outlaw Perique, I'm gone. Yes, Armchair Piper, I hope we can go. Hey, if anybody's in the area, the southeastern Pennsylvania area, that would be willing to carpool with Armchair Piper if I can't go, or if you know anybody, let me know. I know you really want to go, Ed. I really want to go too, but I just have to see how things shake out here. Right back at you, Mr. Stan. Texas Piper, did I try C&D's The Beast? No. 50% Perique, wow. Re-releasing next week and he's debating. I haven't been going after any of the, the new stuff, the limited releases and stuff. I've got so many, like I showed you these 2 tins. I've got so many tins like this of things that I've never tried or I haven't had in years, and I've got pounds and pounds of Haunted Bookshop Cellar. I don't think I'm going to be buying anything new. I just have too much to smoke through. Nice problem to have, especially given some of the conversation we're having around the tobacco regulations and taxes. Yeah, Ron, I was the same way. I mean, when I started smoking a pipe, I didn't even realize there were tobacconists anymore. I just bought stuff at the drugstore. And that's why I smoked Captain Black for a long time. And Patrick Grant's primarily vapor, straight Virginias, Virginia Burley, and some arrows. That's a pretty broad array there, though, Patrick. So that's nice. Never tried Blood Red Moon, Mr. Stan. Mushroom Leg says it's worth it. Maybe some other folks have had it. Yeah, I heard that too, Texas Piper, about the demise of Perique, and that's been one that's been on the edge of demise for quite a while. So we'll see. Oh, Patrick likes a lot of Kia as well. Well, heck, Patrick, you've got a whole world out there. That's a very broad palette, which is a good thing. Jim PM says Middleton Apple was his favorite for the first 3 years. Yeah. And you got to keep in mind those over-the-counter blends. These days the Captain Black and the Borkham Riff, that's what's keeping pipe smoking alive. If it wasn't for them, Captain Black is the largest selling packaged tobacco on the planet, and 1Q is the largest selling bulk tobacco. Now, I don't know many people in our community that would say, oh, I smoke nothing but 1Q or I smoke nothing but Captain Black. A few people say I enjoy it now and then, but so most of the pipe smoking world smoking stuff we kind of don't like. Interesting. This is nice stuff. It's I'm relighting a lot because I'm talking, but it's staying lit well. It's burning well. Getting a little bit of a tingle from the Virginias. I'll probably do a chat on this, probably not this Sunday because I won't have time to smoke much of it, but next Sunday maybe I'll talk about this. Piper on the 45. How you doing there? Been lurking. That's cool. Smoking a Peterson Limerick with Haunted Bookshop. Very nice. Mr. Stan really likes Pirate Cake. Yeah, Jim, I've heard that, and I know that Russ has a very high estimate of aromatic smokers. He blends a lot of aromatics. Well, Phil, thanks for clearing that up for me. I thought it might be the high sugar content of the Virginia, but now that I know I'm smoking insecticide, I feel much better. The new gold standard, indeed. Indeed, Doug and Sailor. Forget eggs, hoard tobacco. It lasts longer. Eddie says, just to share the experience, I just got scammed $200 on a Facebook pipe group. Try to avoid it by all means. Oh, man. Can you give us some more information, Eddie, just so we can let folks watch out for that? I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. I'm having trouble seeing the EDI. Okay. Or can you tell us what the scam was? Or you probably don't want to reveal names, but just so people can generally look out for it. It does happen more than you realize. Indeed, Phil. There you go, Flint Hill Briar. It's a good way to keep the tobacco in an opaque plastic tote. Hopefully you got room on the shelf for more. Admiral's Choice. I do not remember that, Jim. There used to be so many tobaccos in the drugstore. I mean, it was like a half aisle. Well, one side of a half aisle. And then, of course, there were rows of Graybo pipes and all kinds of good stuff. Zippos. Various pipe cleaners. Now if you can find one package of pipe cleaners in a drugstore, you're lucky. Speaking of trying to stock up on tobacco, I got an email from Four Noggins today saying they were having 10% off for St. Patrick's Day. And I don't need anything, but I like Weybridge and I like to age it. So I thought, oh heck, I'll buy a pound of Weybridge. And hey, St. David's Pipes, how you doing, David? Good to see you. So Doug thinks the $200 was from a Facebook executive. So I went and they had Weybridge bulk in stock, and I said fantastic, and I put a pound of it in the cart and everything. I couldn't buy it. I couldn't buy it. It wouldn't accept my credit card for reasons I don't know, because card's fine. It's a debit card actually. So I went through PayPal and tried 2 debit cards through PayPal, and it just wouldn't accept the order for some reason. It would not allow me to buy tobacco. So I said, okay, Four Noggins, you're not getting my order. Pipes and Cigars has got 17% off. Maybe that's why. Maybe fate was helping me to not. I'll have to check. But Pipes and Cigars doesn't sell Weybridge, and I don't really need anything. Wow, Balkan Soprani and the Dunhill blends at Walgreens. I never saw that seller. That's interesting. There used to be, what was that store? It wasn't a tobacconist, and I don't think it was a cigar shop. I don't know what it was, but there was this store in Pittsburgh that had a little rack of Dunhill blends. But I can't for the life of me remember what the store was. Yeah, that's the problem, Flint Hill. I can get the tobacco in with no trouble, but it's sneaking those mason jars into the house that's a problem. Yeah, Phil, all good, all good. I'll never understand that, Lurker Troy. People put food in mason jars. What's wrong with them? Yeah, Michael Case, I assumed that I could call them and place it, but I just, you know, they're going to have a 10% off sale. They should have the darn website working. So brandy and other tin tobaccos were commonly available in the grocers back in the 70s. Interesting. $1 a tin. Wow, Doug. Weybridge is it's a Four Noggins blend. Who's the guy that John Patton blend? And it's good stuff. It's very reminiscent of Haunted Bookshop, but much lighter in flavor. And it ages really well. It gets very sweet with age. Um, really good stuff. Okay, Eli's giving us some information on the scam. So there was this discussion up for tobacco tins, mostly old tins. Later I learned the scammers usually asked to pay by PayPal for friends and family. I trusted the guy and he simply refused to ship them. That is terrible. Growing down, growing smaller. Indeed, Phil. It is crazy. But it's not the end. It'll get better. Tobacco is a food source. Indeed, Armchair Piper. Oh, that's funny, Doug. When 965 rose to $1.25, the customers complained. You imagine if a $14 tin went up to $14.25, you probably wouldn't even notice. And, you have to watch these incremental increases. They sneak up. And as I said that 14.25, I thought, well, you should notice. I went to the post office a week or two ago, and I had a letter that I needed to stamp, and then a priority box that I needed to send. Priority box, and a small priority box, was $10.50. I remember sending those things for $7 not that long ago, it seems. But I looked at the receipt later because I had to get a tracking number for the priority thing, and I realized the cost of the stamp, and I don't remember what it was, but I was really shocked at how expensive a stamp is now. And there's this trick where they sell these forever stamps now, and it sounds like a great deal. It's never going to go up. You buy a bunch of them and you don't have to worry about the price increase. Well, the benefit of that is that it doesn't have a number on it. You don't know how much the stamp cost anymore. And people just buy stamps. They don't think about the cost of them. It's the same thing with the Turnpike, with the Easy Pass. I used to drive to Pittsburgh and I'd hand my ticket to someone and they'd say, okay, that's, it was like $12 to drive from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh. And I have no idea what it costs now because you can't hand a ticket to anybody. They'll graciously photograph your license plate and send you a bill. But it's a scam. They don't want you to know how much you're paying so that they can, gradually increase that price on you. It's a good point, Doug. PayPal will bring the hammer down on that person and quite possibly refund the money depending on the circumstances. Yeah, so creator of the Boundless Universe says it's a problem with four noggins. Yeah, because I tried direct credit card and it didn't work. Yeah, there you go, Texas Piper. The 1040 to 1190 doesn't seem like much, but that's just since 2020. I am done with the Irish flake. I planned on having two Guinness. Guinness? It's plural of Guinness, Guinness? I don't know. Do any of you guys want to hang around for a second beer? Or should I nurse this for the next 10 minutes? And should I pack another pipe? When will smoking pipes have a 20% off sale on Cornell and Deal? It will probably be when they run out of Haunted Bookshop. Patrick Grant finally getting ready to smoke Eileen's Dream in a Peterson St. Patrick's Day rusticated bent billiard. Fantastic, Patrick. Steve Russell says do it. Michael K says he's got nowhere else to go. Well, you know what? Three's a crowd, right? We'll keep it going then. I will not finish this so I don't break my tradition of always finishing it at the end. And we'll open up number 2. Show off my Japanese plain bottle opener. Kind gift to my darling wife. I have to be careful here. I know one bottle fits in the glass fine, but I had some at the bottom, so. Oh, that's just about perfect, isn't it? We will get out a second Irish second, which looks an awful lot like the first Irish second, but it's smaller. Smaller. Now this one, I know why it's a second. And this one I bought as an estate pipe. Again, the internals are fantastic. The stem is lower quality than probably the Petersons used to be. There is a single fill right there. And that is the only thing wrong with this pipe. And it's actually got some really nice straight grain on it too. So it's impressive that they would consider it a second. All right, so what do I smoke? So I can go back to Haunted Bookshop. I don't want to have another bowl of Irish Flake because that would be boring. I can open the Warhorse. Or I do have some Nutty Irishman if you want to see me smoke an aromatic. I'll let you pick. I know, Michael, I would not be very good in an Irish pub. Nothing wrong with a fill on a pipe, Phil. Indeed. Patrick Grant's voting for Warhorse. Oh, sorry, Sailor. I didn't. If I knew you gave up alcohol for Lent, I never would have drank that. That's not true. I would have still drank. 2 votes for Warhorse. I want to thank you for not voting for Nutty Irishman. I got 3 for Warhorse, and now I got 2 for Nutty Irishman. I'm going to stop the voting there and go with the Warhorse before it's too late. This is Warhorse Ready Rubbed. And this is, got the horse upside down. Yeah, won't make him happy. This is from July of 2016. Interesting. Now, Warhorse was originally an Irish tobacco, if I remember correctly. But this, of course, is from the Standard Tobacco of Pennsylvania. Got some oozing around the edges here. Nice to see. You know, they put these stupid plastic things. Let me see if I can get the tobacco off of this. I know it's important that they cover tobacco, but I always get annoyed with these things. So it's got one of these plastic things on it, and there's a little tab on it. I think you can see the tab. Yes, there you go. And of course the tab is buried in the tobacco, so it doesn't help me at all. Is it ready rubbed? Densely packed. Nice and not too dry, but not too moist either. This is going to burn nicely. I haven't had Warhorse in quite a while, so I've been looking forward to this. Warhorse, Jim PM, I've not had the Warhorse bar, but I was talking to Everett, the Urban Hermit, the other night, and he's had it and likes it a lot. You can't get Warhorse Ready Rubbed anymore. Is that true, Sailor? Yeah, folks are asking what Warhorse is, and of course I don't know. Jim PM says he thinks it's Virginia, Dark-Fired, Kentucky, and Burley with a topping. Warhorse Ready Cut is a robust blend of rich Burley and bold Dark-Fired Kentucky with ripe, mature Virginias added for a bit of sweetness and Perique for a bit more spice. Subtle but pleasant top note enhances the flavor of the quality leaf rather than masking it. And this is Standard Tobacco Company. Manufactured under license from the Standard Tobacco Company by the Scandinavian Tobacco Group, Lane Limited. This was Tucker, Georgia. They're not there anymore, I believe. But Standard Tobacco, not Standard Tobacco, the big conglomerate, but the Standard Tobacco Company was a couple of guys in Pennsylvania that worked with Russell Lett on bringing back the Bengal slices, if I'm remembering correctly, and then the Warhorse and the John Cotton lines. Doug Owen, I will not do Aaron Moore. Lady called the shop asking for Irene Moore. That is funny. Now Warhorse, so it's interesting, you know, similar components to the Irish Flake, but this has so much more depth of flavor. Not that the Irish Flake was bland, but this is just a much deeper, bolder flavor. Yeah, and I remember this having an anise topping in the past, but I'm not getting that. Oh, you were one of those early testers, Patrick Grant, of the Bengal slices. Yeah. I was very amazed when I did a review of Bengal slices. Not a review, impressions of Bengal slices when it first came out. And because I loved the old Bengal slices. And so as soon as it came out, I bought it. And I talked about it on YouTube, and I got an email from one of the guys at Standard Tobacco, you know, saying he really enjoyed the video, and it was like a 20-minute long video. That's important. He really enjoyed it, and you know, thanked me for doing it, and then he invited me to go to the Lehigh Valley Pipe Club, where he's a member, and I've never gotten up there, so I feel bad about that. But someday, me and Andrew Sirigliano, who I don't think is on, are going to make it up there. Maybe Armchair Piper can join us. Smarty Bob, good to see you, buddy. Yeah, we're going late tonight, so you're here in plenty of time. Yeah, with the age, Patrick, you're right. The anise topping is probably diminished, which is fine by me. So anyway, I wrote back to I can't remember his name, but Mr. Standard Tobacco, and thanked him and all that. And the next day, I got an email from Russellette saying that this guy had forwarded him the video link, and it was a very gracious email. He said, I opened the link and I said, "Oh God, a 20-minute video," and he said, "I watched every minute of it." And I thought, wow, that's that's really cool. Very nice guy, and corresponded with him a bit on Lane Tobacco and in particular number 10 Downing Street, which because he was working with Lane to bring back. I think he worked on bringing back Crown Achievement, and then there was another one that they brought back not long after that. And I said, number 10, and he said, yeah, he'd love to work on number 10 as well. And I never heard anything else about it, so that's sad, but. Let's see. Doug says the Irene Moore story is almost as funny as the guy who complained about the medicinal taste of our Tinderblocks number 2 blend. Turns out the Luden's cherry cough drop had fallen into his bowl before loading. Oh, Doug, that's hilarious. Yeah, Sailor is definitely a topping on Bengal slices. I've heard folks say it's anise or anise or anisette, depending on what you want to say. But I don't get that. I get something else. It definitely is a topping on it. I can't place it. It doesn't taste like anise to me. Lord Hogarth, load the pipe like a bird feeding its young. That is funny. Yeah, we're in overtime, Ed. It's a St. Patrick's Day special, and I've got all this beer to drink. So. Creator of the Boundless Universe is smoking a Killarney 155 branded. It's a Peterson product that has a K stamped on the stem instead of a P. Nice. Doug, the funny thing about that story is not so much that it happened, but the guy admitted to it. I mean, if I did that, I would never tell anybody. I was smoking with a cough drop in my bowl. Tobacco topped with absinthe. That's an interesting thought, Michael. I wonder if our buddy Tamper Tantrum has ever tried putting, what is it that, is it wormwood? What does absinthe come from? Anyway, he was growing it. And he grows tobacco too. I wonder if he's ever tried a little combination there. Yes, Patrick, 10 Downing Street was Latakia, Virginia with a touch of Cavendish. It also had some white burley in it. And it was just a wonderfully smooth blend that I really enjoyed. Of course, this was back when I was smoking Latakia. But it was the first non-over-the-counter tobacco that I tried. It was actually forced on me by a 80-year-old corncob pipe smoking woman. Uh, I've told that story many times, but and I loved it, and it was my main smoke for a really long time, and then Lane stopped making it. But that happens. All right, Texas Piper, you have a great weekend, buddy. Thanks for joining us tonight. Wormwood. Okay, thanks, Mushroom Leg. No, I don't think it's still available, Patrick. I mean, Lane, there might be some shops that sell something that they call number 10, but Lane doesn't make number 10, or at least they didn't 5 years ago or so. And I've tried several of the existing things called number 10, and they're not the same thing. Oh, okay, Doug. Well, that's puts a different angle on the story. So the guy didn't admit to the Doug actually found the cough drop when he asked him to check the pipe. Wow. Quite old and didn't seem embarrassed. Well, that's good. I hate for the poor fellow to carry that around for the rest of his life. That's the sort of thing I would have trouble getting past. Um, it's funny how these little insignificant things can just stick in your head. You know, you do something stupid and you remember it much longer than the people that experienced it. Jim PM wants a root beer blend. That is interesting. I've heard folks say that Mixture 79 reminds them of root beer. I don't get that from it, but I bet it was hard to keep a straight face, Doug. That is funny. Ah, Sailor. Calculus professor smoked number 10 Downing and he kept him supplied with it. Yeah, that's one way to pass calculus. Yeah, Jim PM, I can imagine that approaching root beer. Anise with caramel and vanilla. I'm trying to remember I read something about root beer flavor once. Well, okay, I read something about flavoring, artificial flavoring, that was root beer, vanilla, and bubble gum. And there's some relationship between the three of them. It might be that bubble gum is root beer plus vanilla, or that root beer is bubble gum plus vanilla. I don't remember, but that's the artificial stuff. So all briared up made a root beer blend, says Patrick Grant, and Mr. Stan says that Sutliff Christmas Spice reminds him of root beer. Patrick's enjoying his Eileen's dream. Root beer plus vanilla equals root beer float. That makes sense, Lurker Troy. Man, I haven't had a root beer float in like 20 years. Longer. I think the last time I had a root beer float, I was living in Atlanta. And I left there in 2000. 23 years at least. Yes, I remember my last root beer float. I don't know why. So Doug Owens says if anybody has Dunhill London mixture, which is his favorite, get in touch with him and he'll talk a trade with you. Smooth Piper has moved on to some Peterson Nutty Cut in a new K. Woody Rough Pipe Bent Billiard. Sailor says if you mix equal parts of Coca-Cola and root beer, you get a concoction that tastes exactly like Dr. Pepper. Isn't that interesting? When I worked at McDonald's, we would occasionally get people that would come in and ask for ginger ale. And it turns out if you mix equal parts of Coca-Cola and 7-Up, you would get a passable ginger ale. Which doesn't make any sense, because I don't think there's ginger in either of those, but... So knowing that, because I do drink ginger ale occasionally, if I'm eating out, I learned to always ask if they had ginger ale or if they made it. And more than half the time they make it, so... Creator of the Boundless Universe just loaded a Peterson 302 with some St. Patrick's Day blend from Paul's Pipes in Michigan. Nice. Dr. Pepper float from Dairy Queen. Oh, that sounds good, Mr. Stan. Dr. Pepper has prune juice in it, says Kevin Doolin. That's why you never drink it on road trips. Good advice. Captain Black Grape in the cellar for 8 years tastes like raisin bread, according to Smarty Bob. That is interesting. Yeah, I've had some good ginger beers, Patrick. I do like them. Doug Owen says the undisputed expert on ginger ale is Aaron Harrelson at Pipe Cottage. Apparently it's a big deal in southwestern Kentucky. I did not know that. A buddy's neighbor's dad invented Dr. Pepper. It had 17 different fruits in it, says Phil Rivera. Very interesting, Phil. And it was, if I recall, it was originally invented as a laxative, or I don't know what you'd call it, a tonic, which is why it was called Dr. Pepper. All right, Sailor, have a great weekend, buddy. Thanks for joining us. Patrick Grant says if he had some Gosling's Black Seal rum and some ginger beer, he'd make a dark and stormy. That sounds good, Patrick. Phil Rivera, they still own low-cal soda manufacturing flights every weekend for supper. I'm not getting that, Phil. Sorry. Speaking of prune juice, says Doug Owen. It's never good when it starts off with speaking of prune juice. They used to lubricate the engines of old biplanes in the 20s with castor oil. Huh. And that is why there were outhouses at every airstrip. It would spray the pilot's face. Mr. Stan is from Western Kentucky. And if I recall, you're a fan of ginger ale. Is that true, Michael? Anything called cola or doctor must include caffeine by law. Huh. Dark and Stormy is a great patent blend, Jim. That is good stuff. Oh, I gotta get my smaller tamper. Oh, it was a reference to the lady whose girlfriend or grandfather or father invented the Dr. Pepper. Gotcha, Phil. I'm assuming GF is grandfather and not girlfriend, but Ed, Armchair Piper, you used to be a bartender? You had a fascinating life, or you're having a fascinating life. I did not know that. Phil Rivera's brother makes his own double string ginger beer. Cool. Yeah, good peppery ginger beer is good stuff. Ron, with regard to those World War I pilots, I wonder if that would be considered a biological weapon these days. Everyone in the Navy was a bartender at some point, says Phil. I got to drink a little faster because we're gonna. Next 10 minutes, we'll tie this up. Surprised the dogs are being so good. I put the Hallmark channel on for them. You owned a bar, Ed. Wow. Oh, that's cool, Flint Hill Briar. Rode in an open cockpit biplane. That would be something. Jim PM says his dog is doing his business right now, and then it's bedtime for Bonzo. I say that quite a bit when I decide I'm going to go to bed. I'll stand up and say, "Well, it's bedtime for Bonzo," and I don't think my wife gets it. I don't think she knows the reference. The bar was a non-profit, Ed. Yes, have a good night, Joe. Michael says first time he heard the term happy hour was from a priest who was a chaplain in the Air Force. We were fascinated. Hey, priests are allowed to be happy. Some of the finest people I have ever known have been happy priests. Some of the most miserable people I've ever known have been unhappy priests. Yes, Patrick, it's an old Ronald Reagan film, a series of them. I know the origin, I just don't think my wife does, and I just leave it at that, you know. Maybe I'll make her watch them some night. I got plans for this weekend, speaking of watching movies. I found out, so I've been playing with this Chromecast thing I talked about. I don't know if I talked about it on the live stream or in a Sunday video. I've really been having a lot of fun with that. And I installed something called the Old Movies app, and I saw tonight that they just got, like, they have new releases on it, and I was looking at it, and they just have the original 1925 Phantom of the Opera silent movie. So I'm going to watch that sometime this weekend. Phil, I don't understand how a priest punched you in the forehead while giving you a sacrament, but we'll talk. Ed trained Tom Cruise for his part in Cocktail. I wouldn't be surprised. Ed's actually, he's a Hollywood guy as well. Ed, I hope you don't mind me revealing this fact, but Ed was on an episode of Hawaii Five-0. Unhappy wives are the scariest of all, Michael. Yes, indeed. One of the priests who taught me in high school was a boxer. Before he was a priest. I don't think there's much call for boxing priests these days, but he did box. I boxed in grade school and high school, so it was something we could talk about. And creator of the Boundless Universe reminded me of that when he said several priests hung out at keg parties. Phil says that it was in humor but surprised the Jesus out of him. Well, Phil, that's the exact opposite of what the sacraments are supposed to do. Oh, that's funny. Or at least I thought it was funny. Oh yes, the original Nosferatu. That's a really interesting movie. And Metropolis is another good one. Yeah, indeed, Patrick. Yes, it is. It is Lon Chaney, Mr. Stan. Holy smoking pipe Padre was a Marine. That's right, Phil. That's right. I'm sure unhappy teenage daughters can be scary, Ron. It was a good one, Phil. Yeah, there was a lot of boxing in the church, Michael. I don't know why, but I guess it was just considered a good, healthy sport for boys. You know, get their aggression out in a safe way, and uh, form bonds with the other guys that you were boxing with. I mean, that was the kind of the neat thing from my experience. This pipe is out. I'm just going to put it down. I'm not going to light another. But my boxing time, I really did develop good friendships with the people that I would box against, even though we beat the living daylights out of one another. It didn't hurt because we had headgear and big gloves and everything. But yeah, it's interesting. And I guess these days it would be viewed as a horrible thing to do to your children. But I also, I learned a little bit of self-defense from it. And the interesting thing is when people found out, especially in high school, that I was boxing, they left me alone. And the fact is, what you learn in boxing isn't going to help you much in a street fight. But yeah, I actually got out of quite a few scrapes because of the reputation I had that was completely undeserved. But Phil says even happy teenage daughters are scary. Well, folks, we got one swallow left here, but we'll let it go for another minute. But as we draw this to a close, I do want to thank you all for joining me and celebrating St. Patrick's Day in the best way we can. We still got 41 folks here. That's amazing. That is amazing. So thank you all for hanging in there and enjoying the show. I really enjoyed chatting with you all. As I say every week, this is the high point of my week, and I mean it. Just wonderful to get together with a group of like-minded guys and talk about whatever crosses our mind. Bishops, we give a little slap at confirmation. Best thing about martial arts is it teaches you how to remain calm and think in an altercation. Yes, Phil. That's a big part of not getting in fights. Yeah, Doug, I don't know about the masochistic priest angle there, but oh, thank you, Patrick. It's very kind of you. You have a great weekend too, Mushroom Leg. And we will draw this to a close. So I will be back on Sunday. I'll, if nothing else, be able to give you an update on my wife and her stitches and all that. And we'll have something else to chat about, I'm sure. We'll be back next week with another exciting episode of whatever this is. And until then, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend and a great week ahead. And we'll talk again real soon. So thank you all. Take care of yourselves and be good.